Hello YouTube, Komodo Gaming here, bringing you another episode of Scrap Mechanic. Today we are back in the post-apocalyptic farm bot world. Now before we begin this episode, I do want to apologize about the past couple of days. I have been sick and I've been really inconsistent with my uploads. But I managed to get a viewer creation episode out yesterday, so if you'd like to check that out, I'll link it in the description. And I feel like everything's going to be back to normal from here on. Now, I also intended on doing a town update this weekend, but with me being sick, I just was not going to get around to it, so I decided let's go ahead and do just a post-apocalyptic farmbot world update since we've already done a town update earlier in the week. So the town will return at the beginning of next week. But anyways, let's go ahead and check out what I've done. Now, I've got 2 new vehicles today, and I've got a ton of base additions. A lot of them are the things that you guys have been requesting. So I've got those, and as you can see, I've also installed the Apocalypse mod, and this looks fantastic. I didn't realize how good this looked. I've seen them on Spy's videos, but I've never actually installed the mod myself, and it's just great. It's the dark clouds, you can see the sun trying to peek through, the fogginess, and it looks like ashes or something. You can see some of the little specks floating around. So it adds a lot to the atmosphere, so I really enjoy this, and I think it definitely makes the base look a lot better. But anyways, this is our first vehicle. This is the Scout Buggy. Now I realized in the base we had no fast vehicles at all. They're all just these big armored vehicles that are meant to destroy farm bots. I needed one that maybe was an escape vehicle or something that can get us from point A to point B really fast. So I came up with the Scout Buggy. Now it does seat 2, well actually it seats 1 and the other person has to stand up in the back gun. So the back gun's actually really cool, and I didn't realize this from last episode. I put guns on the monster truck, but I didn't realize that it actually fires. So I've got this hooked up to a button here. So as you can see, you can make it fire. Now there's ways to put this on like a timer and make it look like a machine gun, but this is a fairly big gun. I kind of picture it being like a one-shot. So I've got it where you can do that, and you can actually move it up and down. So that is really cool. Now let's go ahead and drive this thing. I'm going to drive it through town. If anybody's unfamiliar with my post-apocalyptic farmbot world, I actually do have a small town. This is where it all began before I did the farmbot factory and the base over there. So as you can see, everything's pretty much the same. I actually thought about adding maybe a building or 2 to this in here. But everything looks really cool and destroyed, and there's just tons of things. Now, to the right, that's where the farmbot factory is. We'll probably visit that before the end of the episode because it looks really awesome now. Let's see, here's the base. Now, there's been a lot of new additions to the base, and as you can see, it actually looks quite a bit taller now. I did add a 3rd story, and I've added several things that you can see on the wall and above the base. So we're about to travel in there. I'm going to go ahead and just test this thing out just a bit before we do that. And as you can see, there's another thing that I've added to the front of this. It's kind of like a plow. So say if there's maybe some farm bots in the way, you should be able to pick up enough speed and hit them. Now there's not much protection for the driver itself. I couldn't find any really good plates or something. Like I was looking for skinny slanted plates, and they had some in the mod here, but nothing that I could really mount on there and make it look right. So it is kind of open, so you're really banking on your speed to be able to get away and avoid fire. But I do believe this thing came out really good, and I will have this on the workshop along with the other vehicle. Now I cannot put the buildings on the workshop since they're all built into the map, so in order to play with this, you'd have to actually download the map itself. So anyways, let's go ahead and travel into the base here. Alright, we're ready to go in. Now, if you do see a lot of jump cuts in this episode, I've been coughing, so I've had to pause several times during recording just to go cough. So I do apologize about that. So let's go ahead and open this up here. As you can see, we still have the sweet drawbridge. So let's pull into here. I've got the monster truck pulled in, and you can see our other new vehicle over here under the awning. It is a transport vehicle. We're going to check that out probably last. Now, as far as new additions to the base itself, I've done quite a bit. I'm not finished, but I'm getting really close now to being satisfied with this base area. So let's go ahead. You know what? Actually, we're going to close it up there. Somebody pointed out last episode that we didn't have this little gatehouse set up right, so I've added one. We've got the one still down on the bottom for people that are leaving, but for people that are coming in, I only had this little lever here on the side. So I have added a proper gatehouse up here. You gotta hop up this little ladder. It's kind of hard to get up, but it's about the best I could do. Now, you're up here and you have control of the gate, so somebody comes up, they can radio up to you saying, yes, they are good, and you can open the gate from here. So that's really neat. Let's go ahead and hop down here. And it's also acting as a tower. Now, I was going to put a gun up in it, but I decided it would be better to put guns all up and down the wall. So I do have all these new mounted guns, and these things are cool. Let's go ahead and fire that off. Actually, I don't think I turned the sound on these. I'll have to go back. These do make sound. Now, they only make the sounds that the Totbot heads make, so a lot of times you want to do the kick sound actually sounds decent. I think the first one's the best. So yeah, you can hop up here. This thing turns all the way around. It lifts up and down. Let's go ahead and turn it back real quick. There we go. And you would just hit the 1 key. Yeah, that sounds okay. I would prefer if they actually had some gun noises, but I think it's pretty good for what it is. Now, I've got 2 more of these guns mounted on the wall, and I do plan on putting more. You can see I've completed the awning around the back side of the base now, so probably 3 on the back and 2 on the side over there. But other than that, nothing much has changed over here. I've added a staircase. I have one on the other side, so now you have 2 ways up and down. I'm not going to put a railing on the back side because typically you don't see that. Say stuff's really going bad, you want to be able to jump off instead of going to the stairs, so you can just hop off. Say farm bots are coming from everywhere and you need to get inside, so that's why I don't have a railing on the back side. I do have it on the drawbridge, but I just did that because it looked cool. But over here, I used to have a greenhouse. I had a wood and glass greenhouse, but ever since I installed the mod, it's basically gotten rid of the sun, so to me a greenhouse doesn't work nearly as good anymore. So I've replaced it with this. I've got a metal awning here, and you've got like heat lamps, so I'm hoping that's gonna be good enough to make these plants grow. If not, I'm gonna have to figure something else out. Maybe we'll do like a little building with the indoor kind of farm, because ever since I've changed that, or changed the whole sky here, it just didn't make sense, and I was pretty sure somebody's going to point that out, like, well, the greenhouse is kind of pointless now. So that's why this is the way it is. Now, over here, a lot of people were asking, or some people actually requested this item, but I was thinking about it too. How are we fueling our vehicles? This is the apocalypse. There's no more fuel sources, or at least there's no more fuel or gas stations. Those are probably all drained up. So now you have to pump your own fuel. So now I've got a pump jack here, so it's pumping oil from the bottom. Say this was already a drilled out reservoir, and they're just trying to get every last drop. Now this thing actually does work, and this took me a while to do. I was trying to figure out how exactly I wanted it to look, and this is actually really cool. Let me go ahead and turn it on here. It looks pretty realistic, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. And back here, you've got the oil tanks, so it's pumping oil out and it's putting it in these tanks. And normally, yes, you would need to refine it before you turn it into fuel, but let's just say, I don't know what's going on here in the apocalypse. Maybe there's a way to fuel it with just straight crude, but I'm pretty sure maybe I need to figure out some refining process. Maybe we'll stick it over here to the left. But that's what this was supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to like hook a hose up to it and maybe fuel up your vehicles. But yeah, that's a really cool item. I can sit there and watch this all day. It's just kind of mesmerizing how it moves. But yeah, let's go ahead, turn it off. There's some little details. You've got a little electrical box back here. You can see all the little nozzles that you can turn the flow of oil on and off. So, cool little contraption there. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. Now, as far as the inside of this building, I mentioned it earlier. If you notice, there is another floor on here. I've added a third. It stopped about right in the middle there. So I figured we need more rooms. We just need more space overall to do things. Now, I don't think I'm going to go up to a 4th floor. I think that would look a little too much. So I think the 3rd floor is where we're going to stop here. But before we go inside this area, let me go ahead and show you the new little workshop here. And as you can see, I have replaced the garage door here. Let's go ahead and open it up. And now we have a proper workshop. So as you can see, they are currently working on a new vehicle here. You've got the little motor on the mount over here. You've got a workbench over here. You can see the tires stacked up. I kept the shelves on this side of the wall because I thought they actually looked pretty nice. But yeah, this is really cool. It's just there for looks, but to me it just adds a lot. I was originally going to put the workshop on the outside, but I was confused as to what I was going to do with this room, so I figured let's just go ahead and stick it in here. So any maintenance that's going to need to be done on vehicles that are taller than this garage are going to need to be done under the awning outside. But yeah, it's a cool little area. A lot of detail in here. So let's go ahead and close that. And like I was talking about this awning, this will fit most vehicles except the monster truck. The monster truck's just so huge. You'd have to build a absolutely huge garage to be able to fit that anywheres. But yeah, let's go ahead and travel to the inside. Now the inside, not much has changed. Everything's pretty standard down here. I don't think I've added anything. I've went through all this on the last episode, so if you'd like to check that out. Mainly what I did add, now out here on this little balcony out here, I did add like a little rest area. So an area we can go out here. I've got a grill. We can cook some food. You've got a nice little sitting area out here. This is actually supposed to be like a generator, so you can turn it on. It's just a area I wasn't sure what I was going to do with, and somebody suggested that I put almost, well, they said a cafeteria, but I'm saying more like a little rest area. It's got a nice vantage point, of course, of all the land, and I probably need to stick at least one gun up here just in case. But yeah, that's that area. Now, I made the staircase wrap around, and this is going to go to the 3rd floor, but I've also added a couple things down here. Now, if you notice these little vents, I thought about it. Ever since I've installed this mod, we need some sort of air filtration system because it is awfully smoggy out there. Like, I imagine it's hard to breathe. So I need to come up with something to do with air filtration. I think I'm going to do it outside somewhere, but I've added these little vents to basically pretend like they're pumping in fresh air, even though it is kind of foggy on the inside here too. Kind of wish we could change that with the mod. I don't think there's any way to do that, but to make it where when you're on the inside of the buildings, it would be less foggy. But right now, I don't think that's possible. Now, this staircase does now wrap you around to the 3rd floor. Now, this 3rd floor doesn't have a whole lot on it right now. I've had a lot of good suggestions for rooms. I've heard like situation rooms, a medical bay, which medical bay makes the most sense right now. So I'm going to be adding some stuff up here. The only room I have complete. This is like, I guess, if there's a boss in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, this is the boss's room. So he gets his own little bedroom. He's got a nice window. He can see what's going on. It's actually a lot harder to see out these windows since we've installed the Apocalypse mod, but he can kind of observe everything and see what's going down at the base. And that's nice. Here's the empty room here. Now I just need a suggestion for this. I'm thinking medical bay, but I also like the situation room suggestion too. Maybe we can do the medical bay outside. I can do another small building. And here's the second window. Now I've got one more really cool item up on this 3rd floor. Check this out. A lot of people were talking about we needed a big gun to defend this base. Those little guns do pretty good to defend the walls, but we needed something huge. So I've got something that looks very similar to like an old AA gun. Or actually, I don't know, they might still use these on battleships. I'm pretty sure they have some form of it. But this is more like what you would see on an older battleship, maybe World War II. It looks really cool. Let's go ahead and hop up in it. It uses the little standing cockpit. Now it does also move up and it does turn, so you've got full 360 motion here. So anything that's flying around, I don't know if farm bots really fly, but if they do, you can try to take them out here. Now it also fires, and actually that's got another tone on it. Need to change those too. I think the drum tone is going to be the best one to somewhat replicate the sound of bullets flying. But yeah, that's really cool. I might put that one on a timer. I think this one should actually look like it's firing like an automatic gun. Thinking a timer of about maybe a quarter second. I don't think it's going to fire really fast, but I'm thinking something like that would be good, or maybe I can make them alternate. That would be kind of cool too. But yeah, here's the gun that's mounted up here. Now you also see a little tower in the background that's just a comms tower that I added to the top of the building. This thing actually goes pretty fast. Huh. But yeah, that is really cool. And the only way to get up to this little spot is by that door there. Now, I'm thinking about maybe sticking a ladder somewhere, but I don't have much room to actually stick it anywhere over here. And you have to put it at a pretty aggressive angle to be able to climb up it. So I have to see what I'm going to do there. But anyways, I think it's time to check out our last vehicle. Alright, this is our last vehicle, and this is probably leading up to our next build in the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Somebody was talking about the whole fact that we need probably more than one outpost here, and we need a way to transport supplies back and forth. So I came up with this vehicle here. It's really cool. It's got a whole bunch of supplies in the back. You can somewhat see them. It's a little high, but yeah, there's boxes and tires back there. Let's go ahead and close that. And you've got the double back wheels here in the back, the single in the front. It almost looks a little bit like a half track, except for the whole fact I don't actually have like treads in the back. But it does have a very similar style, especially the grill in the front end here leading up to the cab. But yeah, let's hop in. Now, I don't think I said it about the other vehicle. I'm using the vehicle block now. They've got a little block that you can stick down, so I can make these little custom seats around there. And it looks actually quite a bit better than the standard seats. And I also added this little steering wheel that actually moves with the front wheels. So let's hop on in here and let's close the door. Alright, let's drive. Now I also do have a roof hatch. It is possible to actually fall out of the door. Like you can open it up and slide right out. You don't get stuck. So the roof hatch is kind of pointless, but it's kind of there just in case something happens. Yeah, I actually think we are going to drive out to the FarmBot factory real quick, and we're going to kind of scout out a new area for maybe an outpost. Now, this thing typically would probably need to be in some sort of convoy since it doesn't have any sort of defenses right now. I thought about putting a gun above the co-pilot or the co-driver and maybe have him stand there and fire, but I kind of want to pretend that maybe we should be doing this in like some sort of convoy setting to get supplies back and forth between bases. But yeah, there's the old blown out school. Still looks terrible. Oh, don't tip. This thing actually handles fairly good, even with those big back wheels on it. And I think they look really nice. Even though it's just two wheels stuck together, I mean, it really looks like they're meant to be that way. Alright, here's the FarmBot factory, and this thing does look really eerie ever since I've added that mod. And, oh, gotta hop out here. Now, one thing I noticed when I was driving around, and I don't know how I missed it the first time, I think I had to redo the back axle at some point, and I noticed it's actually loose. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick, because I'm sure somebody's gonna see that. So, there we go. Make that go down, we should be good to go. But yeah, that's a really creepy area now. I'm gonna just swing through it real quick and discuss what we're gonna do next. Like I said, I'm looking to do some sort of outpost somewhere and some other things. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do with the apocalypse. I thought about actually taking some of my old buildings or some of the buildings in the town and transferring them over here and maybe destroying them a little bit and making a small little town. That would actually be very quick since I already have the buildings available. So we might do that. I've got a lot of other things that I can do. So if you guys have any suggestions, comment below. But I do think that I actually knocked out quite a few of the suggestions from the last episode. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today. I do apologize for the jump cuts and me sounding a little funny. I feel better, but I'm still not 100%. So I'm still going to try to have another video out tomorrow. It's probably going to be maybe a City Skylines, or I've been looking at a couple other games that I might play. And we'll do multiplayer Monday, of course, on Monday. And then I should have a town update on Tuesday, which I haven't chosen a name yet, but I'm debating on several different ones that I've seen, and I'm actually really excited about that, so we'll actually have a legit name for the town. But anyways, guys, if you like to like and subscribe, everything helps my channel. All items that you see here, except for the buildings, will be on the workshop, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.